Hey guys, welcome back for another episode with Game Boy Reaper. So we're going to be talking about the show 3% that I just recently saw. I saw the first season of it, but before we go on, can you please help out the channel by smashing that like button? And also, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe if you want to. But anyway, back to the topic. So on the show 3%, I saw the first season, and this is the first season review of it. We looking from what the first season was basically talking about, it was like a collection of people that they were living in this land that was called the inlands. And the inland is it's a poor and rough area, and like a lot of the places in the inlands doesn't have really much power going on. Also, like the resources are very low, the crime is really high and rampant. And you start off with people all walking, or like a whole bunch of people are walking on this big huge group. And they get to this big huge this big huge bright white, like clean looking building. And the whole thing about the 3% was you find out that these people that are walking up this trail that's leading all the way up until the top of this mountain is they're doing this test. And this test that the people have been talking about in the inlands is talking about this process. Now, while you're watching the show, you're meeting some characters. So you meet this girl named Joanna. You meet this guy. You meet this guy who's Raphael, I believe. You also meet this girl Michelle, this female character, and then you also meet this other guy character. He was in a wheelchair, and he was named I think Frodo. I'm probably butchering his name. Anyway, regardless, these characters are starting to talking when they all kind of meet with each other at the beginning of this building, and they get into it, and then they hear from the guy who's leading the whole testing and everything, and his name is Ezekiel. I believe that's right. And he basically tells them about the way of the process. And basically the whole season just takes place with this group of young adults, along with all these other people that are with them. They had to go through this whole process, and they're trying to pass this huge exam in order to escape the inlands and get a better life. Now, obviously, throughout several of the episodes, the groups are handled with different type of tests, and they had to start, doing critical thinking on how they solve different type of puzzles, and then on top of that, how they handle different type of like the first one, they had to deal with a conversation, and the conversation, the examiner was having a talk with them. And some of them were being tested, other ones they just wanted to see how they were, and it was probably an easy exam. But then there were other exams they had to go through where the group was pitted, they were almost like pit against each other, and they had to decide on, one time they went into this room, this cube, and the guy who was the examiner told them, look, everyone has to stay in this cube. By the end of the time, one of you is going to be eliminated, and then everyone else gets to go on. But the thing is, they had to figure out how they would choose one person to get eliminated. If they don't decide, everyone gets eliminated. So it was like they were thinking on that one. I think the one that was probably quite a few people probably got eliminated was the fact where everyone was grouped up, and they were in this this self-storage type of facility part of the process, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to get out. Now they solved the puzzle, but the leader, Ezekiel, he wanted to test them more because he wanted to see their human behavior. He wanted to see how much more further it would actually go on their actions. And it got to the point where like Joanna, who was like this one lady who she's never really trusted someone. She's always been like a drifter. So she's always kind of like, her survival is like really high. So she's always been able to worm her way out of a lot of stuff. She's really tough. Like there are times when she was a little bit scared, but when she needs to like save her butt or get herself out of danger, oh, she's the first one to go. You'd be like, where's Joanna? She's gone. It's like you can just forget about her. But yeah, like there were like a whole bunch. There were like several different tests they had to go through, and I think the real show blocker of the very end of the first season was literally when they found out the final part of the process. I could definitely see some people be like, you know what, I'm good, I'm gonna go home, and other people be like, you know what, I'm still gonna go through, because the thing is that like, from what the people who've been living on the inland, they know that the offshore is supposed to be this magical, wonderful place. And I mean, like, it is, but they just don't know how wonderful it is. And then they don't realize what they have to sacrifice. Because a lot of people, like I say, a lot of people don't really make it far through the process. A lot of people get eliminated. So I mean, like when like, I mean, like some of the people, like I think like Joanna, she was one of the people that got individually tested for like the final test, because like Ezekiel, he saw great potential in her, and I think he also saw great potential in also Michelle as well. But those two characters, they were kind of like more of like kind of like almost like kind of the headstrong type of characters. And then one of the characters, he actually got seriously hurt. I'm not gonna tell you who he is, but I was like, oh my God, he lost like half his body. Yeah, he was stubborn, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, his first season, I thought the first season was pretty good. Like it was mainly just about seeing a whole bunch of young adults go through a round of several tests. They had to go through these several tests, and then after going all through these several tests, they had to decide if they wanted to complete the final step. They complete the final step, they were able to go to the offshore, and they would be able to live like a better life than what they live in the inland. And I think like in reality, I mean, I think they like in the first season, I mean, you basically are following like maybe I say between 5 or 8 characters throughout most of the event, but it's mainly takes place where the exam gets basically taken, where like all the exams get taken place. For the most part, you see some parts of like the inland. You don't really see I think barely at the end of it you see maybe a little bit of the offshore, but like I say, they kind of just tease you at the end. But yeah, I thought it was a little bit entertaining. Now, what I would grade for, I mean, the first season, I would give this like I'll give it like a C plus. It's like above average. It was a little bit, some parts felt like a little bit rush, but other than that, I thought it was certainly entertaining for what they had going on for. I just thought like, there were definitely parts that were like, they could have worked on improving on, and they definitely could have added some more story elements to it, for more background on some of the characters I mentioned. But anyway, that's it on that. If you guys liked it, what you saw here, can you please, write down any comments or tell me what you liked about it. And also, I will see you guys on the next one. Pow!